Hi everyone, happy Tuesday, second day of our brand new week. So I'm hoping that your brains are still fresh. Again, I'm so sorry if it gets a bit noisy. The builders are still here, like they were yesterday, and they're still trying to put some scaffolding together. So hopefully they won't be too noisy for too long. But I'm hoping yesterday's lesson made sense, but just in case, we are going to do another lesson on ordering decimals today, just to make sure that we get in enough practice and you get enough opportunities, if you didn't do yesterday's work, to have a go, or if you got stuck yesterday, to ask for some help today. So let me share my screen and let's get going. So for today, we are, like I say, going to be ordering decimals again with up to 3 decimal places. And remember, all that means is there are at least 3 numbers or up to 3 numbers after the decimal point. That's all that means. So our first job is to see if we can beat our scores from yesterday. So if you got 5 of your times tables correct yesterday, 5 little answers, see if you can get 6 or 7 correct in your 2 minutes a day. Or if you got 20, can you get 21 or 22 today? Now, some of you might go, well, I don't know how many I got yesterday. Make sure that you're going back to your work from yesterday and you're checking the feedback, because I have marked them, I know Miss Turner's marked them, and I know that Mr. Buxton's marked them. So if you go back and you double check, I promise you'll find out how many you got. If not, message us and let us know. There is also a Rosie's challenge for you again today. We noticed yesterday not many people tried this, but if you are sort of like, I don't really understand most of them, if you could at least have a go, let me just grab the highlighter, if you could at least have a go at this one and this one, because they are always cropping up on our arithmetic tests that we have every week. So please make sure you at least just tried those 2 for us. That would be handy. So if you're on the school website, I'll let you pause it here so that you can give yourself 2 minutes for the grid and any extra time for Rosie's challenge. Looking forward to seeing your work on email or on Teams later. And then if you're on Teams, again, I've done the grid for you so you can type in all your answers, and you will have had your work highlighted so that you know which ones you got right yesterday. And then if you scroll down, there is Rosie's challenge. But again, please try and remember that it's these 2 that we really, really want you to try, because they keep cropping up on our arithmetic tests. So it's good to keep practicing those. Right, I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes as well when you're done. Okay, so just to double check from yesterday, when we were talking about our vocabulary that we use for ordering numbers, remember we can say smallest to largest, biggest to smallest, which are the ones that we hear a lot. But then the trickier ones that we keep using at the moment in year 5, just to make sure you remember them, is ascending. And hopefully some of you will have remembered what that means. And if we think of our stairs, we're going from the smallest all the way to the biggest. Sorry about the dodgy drawing. We know my drawing's not great. And then if we're going descending, we're going down the stairs. So we're going from the biggest to the smallest. Oh, that's slightly better. So if we wanted to order these measurements, so we've got 2.8 litres, 2.1 litres, 2.36 litres, 2.3 litres and 2.9 litres. And we're ordering from the least amount of liquid, so the smallest amount, to the largest amount. What would we need to look at to help us? Well, to start with, we're going to be looking at the tenths, because that bit's going to help, because that's most of them. So let me see, which one's got the smallest amount of tenths? Definitely this one. I'm just checking and comparing. Yeah, one is definitely smaller than all the others. So 2.1 litres is the smallest measurement we've got. Then the next one, well, it could be one of these two because they've both got 3/10. Now, this is where our knowledge of our decimals and their equivalents come in, because we know that 2.3 is exactly the same as 2.30, because that will help me compare it with this number. So 2.30 30 hundredths is definitely smaller than 36 hundredths. So this one's going to go first, and then this one's going to come next. So then I've got these two left. Well, 8/10 is definitely smaller than 9/10. So 2.9 litres is my biggest measurement, my largest amount of liquid. Phew, I think that one was quite easy. It was just checking these two that was a bit tricky, but we got there. Next one. So if we wanted to order the times below from the slowest to the fastest, what would we need to look at to help us? Now, this one's always tricky when we talk about time, because we've actually got to remember that the slowest time is going to be the biggest number we've got because they've taken a really long time to do it. And the fastest time is actually going to be the smallest because they've not taken very long to do it. So why I'm looking for descending order here, I'm looking for my biggest to my smallest. So the biggest time, let me see, I think they're mainly in hundredths, aren't they, afterwards? So that's 93 hundredths, okay, 91 hundredths. So that could be two possibilities. 8/10, which we know is the same as 80 hundredths. It's definitely not going to be that one. And then we've got 934 thousandths. Okay, so they've all got 9/10. They've all got, 300ths there. That's 1 and that's 300. So actually, we won't need this one just yet. It's going to be between these two as to which one is the biggest. Now, we do know that 93 hundredths is the same as 930 thousandths. So let me just put them together so they stick together. Now, we know that 934 thousandths is bigger than 930. So my slowest time, the one that took the most amount of time, is 5.934 seconds. And the next one is 5.930 seconds, or 5.93. And then, you know, this one that we left till later, 5.91 seconds. So now we've got to look between these two to find out which one is the smallest one, to find the fastest time. Okay, so that's 0.82. So if I change this into hundredths too, sorry about the builders, guys, 5.80 to 80 hundredths is the same as 8/10. So this one would be first. And then my quickest time, the smallest number, is 5.8 seconds. Right, next question. Let's have a look. We've got this one, and then I'm going to show you your activity. So this time we want to order the measurements from what's from? I mean from from the lightest to the heaviest. So the lightest is going to be the smallest. It's not going to weigh a lot. To the heaviest, the biggest number. So we're going in ascending order here. So which one? Let me have a look at the lightest. 3.7 tenths, 7 tenths, 7 tenths, 7 tenths, 7 tenths. Okay, so that's not helpful at the moment, but we've got 8 hundredths, 0 hundredths, 6 hundredths, 6 hundredths, and 7. Okay, so we actually need to change this one So we've got hundredths on there, don't we, to help us out. So we know that 3.7 is exactly the same as 3.70. Let's put that grams back in there, because 7/10 we learnt before half term was the same as 70 hundredths. So we're actually going to need these two, because we've got no hundredths here and no hundredths here. Now then, that still doesn't really help me too much, because this has got 6 thousandths and I haven't got any thousandths on this one just yet. Now, some of you might be able to do this in your head and you might have spotted what the answer is already, but just in case people aren't sure, if I now change this into thousandths, we know that 7/10 is the same as 700 thousandths. There we go, put them two together. So this one is actually our smallest amount, very closely followed by this one. The 700 thousandths is definitely a smaller number than 706 thousandths. So that's those two. All right, so now let's just put these three together. So 8/10, 6/10, 6/10. Okay, so we're going to be looking at these two. So 765 thousandths afterwards there. Okay, so it'd be really useful, again, to pop this one into thousandths to help us out. So we know that 76 hundredths is the same as 760 thousandths. And 760 thousandths is definitely smaller than 765 thousandths. So that one would go first, and then that one's a little bit bigger, which means our biggest number is 3.786 grams. Okay, I am really hoping that did make sense and that you get the idea that sometimes we need to put our, if we've got a number that's got hundredths only, 2 numbers after the decimal point, but we've got another number that's got 3 digits after the decimal point, thousandths, we're going to need to make them both into thousandths to be able to figure out which one is the smallest or biggest out of the 2. So this is your job today. I've got some running records for you for the fastest male sprinters. Now, they're not in order because I messed up, really. So you need to put them in order for me from the fastest runner to the slowest runner. So I'm hoping that you'll say the first person, the quickest person, what their name is, and then what their time is, because you've got this here, all the way down to the slowest person, and then you write their name in here, and then what time they got. And then if you wanted an extra little challenge, there are some questions about those times. Now, this bit's optional because it's an extra challenge. You don't have to do this bit, but we are expecting you to try this, please. Now, if you are on the school website, I know I say this every lesson, but please take a picture of your work. Please email it to us or send it to us on Teams using the Add Work button on today's assignment. And then if you're on Teams, I have popped all 12 names here. And then you just need to type in their name and their time, again, from the fastest to the slowest. And then I've also popped in that extra challenge sheet for you so that you could have a go at answering those if you want to. Okay, whew, I didn't think the camera was going to work then. So I'm hoping that made sense. And if you are stuck at all, please let us know. We know that especially with the activity, because you are doing time, some of you might get a bit mixed up. So we're kind of expecting that some of you might need a bit of a hand. You could always rewind the video and go back to the question where I did the time with you to remind you. But please let us know if you're struggling. We don't want you to be struggling at home and worrying that you're not getting it. Like, just let us know. Message us on Teams, email us, get mum and dad to ring the school office and leave a message and say, I've got an SOS, I need you to ring me back. Like, whatever it is, let us know so we can give you a hand. Well, good luck with today's lesson. I know you'll be just fine, but just message us if you need us. See you all tomorrow for Wednesday, halfway through the week.